All right. Don't freak out. Okay, everybody calm down. Yes, we were robbed in Costa Rica. It happened. And we are going to tell you all of the details so that perhaps you can stop this from happening to yourself. And at the very least, you can know that things like these do happen, and not just here, but all around the world, okay? So yes, you want to know the crime rate of the country that you are traveling to, but you can never anticipate what's going to happen, whether something gets stolen from your car or from your house, or from you on the street or off the beach when you leave your sandals. You're not, you never know what's going to happen, but you can take certain precautions to help make sure that you have a less of a chance it happening to you. So we thought we were being fairly smart. We lived in a house that had a front gate. So in my mind, I was like, it's gated. It's gated. Yeah, no, the sides and the back were like
wooden gate,
falling down barbed wire that anybody could jump over. But again, I'm not from this country. I didn't really, we were out on the outskirts of town. It was very quiet out there. Like
nobody would ever find us back there.
I just felt like there wasn't a ton of people out there scoping around. So we really just didn't think of it. Okay, so here's how it happened. About 3 weeks after we got here, somebody came into our home while we were sleeping, while we and our children were sleeping in the house. They unlocked the window, slid the windows open, cut the screen with a machete, because everybody here has a machete, and jumped in the kitchen window, stole a lot of stuff, jumped out the window, and we're gone. I woke up at 4 a.m. I always wake up at 4. He goes to bed late. So there's always like just a very small window of time that this could have ever happened, right? So that in itself, we were a little bit like, nah. Like that was like a really short period of time for someone to know when to come. But essentially, I woke up that morning. I came out. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, it's pitch black. It's dark. There's a little light on in our kitchen. And I walked out and my purse was in the middle of the kitchen floor, open. And I'm like half asleep, my coffee's not in me or anything yet. So I look at my purse and I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe Baby Shark was playing with it yesterday. And, I thought, no, that's not right. That's not right. This isn't right. And I'm looking around and I noticed that Rob's camera bag is gone. And I pick up my purse and all of our rent money is gone. And it starts kind of like getting to me. And I start realizing what has happened. And I look at the window and I just start having a bit of a panic attack in the middle of my kitchen all alone. Of course, everybody else is still sleeping. And, in that moment, I have never wished more that I just so badly didn't want to wake Rob up. I just so badly wanted somehow there to be a miracle where I could just make it all okay, replace everything before he woke up in the morning and just act like nothing happened. So I stood there. I remember standing there for probably a good 5 or 10 minutes, debating what am I going to do? How am I going to handle this? Who do we call? All of the questions ran through my mind. And finally I went and I got Rob, startled him out of bed, and I never wake him up that morning, that early. So he was like, what? And at this point I started crying because I didn't want to say it. And I'm just crying and trying to talk and crying and trying to talk. And he's going what? What's wrong? I think you probably thought somebody had died or something.
You just wake me up and you're crying and you don't even say anything. You're just crying. And then you're just telling me to come out here. And I'm like, what is happening? Somebody died.
Did someone die?
Mine were very we're still super new, it just everything, we were just starting to feel like we got the hang of everything here. And then this happened, right? So we were still pretty fresh, still starting to feel okay, we got a handle, but still quite fresh. It was only 3 weeks. It was a few days after Christmas. And I finally said, I think we were robbed. And I pointed over to where his stuff used to be. And he looked over and he was like, my camera stuff is gone.
It's gone, man. Gone.
Now, for those of you who don't know, when we sold our house, it was the first time ever that we were able to just go out and Rob could buy the cameras that he wanted. We were coming to Costa Rica, we were coming to take pictures, to, you know, start with this new business plan and to do all of these wonderful things that we had ideas for. And so we bought, you know, he bought his new camera and he bought a GoPro and he bought a drone and things that we never would have been able to buy before. Okay. And I know a lot of people out there can relate. Like this was like, I remember Rob standing in Best Buy and he was like, do I buy the GoPro or do I buy the drone? The GoPro or the drone? And I had to convince him. I was like, this is the one time in your life right now that you can buy both. Like, buy both. We're going to Costa Rica. Buy both. So he bought both. And then they went and jumped out the window and ran.
We had them
into
for
the
a few
jungle.
weeks.
We had them for literally a few weeks. Are you kidding me? So all of Rob's camera equipment was gone. Our rent money was gone. Our bank cards were gone. Rob's prescription sunglasses were gone, which were no good to anybody.
I know. I just got them before we
left.
left.
Like, just throw them on the floor,
just leave them.
ground somewhere for us to find them. The man can't see.
You're blind, dude.
Like, even our debit cards, you know,
Yeah.
like no use to anybody else, but a huge disadvantage to us because we ended up having to get new bank cards like FedEx, DHL to us, which by the way is $250 for
Yeah.
an envelope to be sent to you. We got it in 2 days, which I was impressed by, but still it was $250 for one envelope to be sent to us, like, you know, emergency express. So, so yeah, that was crazy. So our bank cards, our passports were left alone. Thank goodness they were kept in a separate location. And just all of our
the
cash.
MacBook was safe because I put it in the bedroom with me.
Thank goodness, yeah. We
That was
had
our
that in the bedroom with us.
saving grace, I think, was that.
Yeah.
If that was gone, we had no way to work or anything.
Okay, so, and I remember at this point when we're like, we're discussing what happened. We are trying to figure out what to do because it's 4 a.m. Nobody's awake. We do not know the phone number, like the 911. Is
that
there a
even what you
911
call?
here?
Do you call 911 or is it like 468? Who
Yeah,
knows?
nobody knows. And like, what do they get dispatched to you immediately? Like, my landlord lives in front of me, but they're sleeping. Surely it's 4 a.m. So we're just sitting there talking about what happened, talking about how it happened, feeling a little uneasy.
Calling the credit card companies, cancel the card.
Yeah, kind of wondering like, are we being watched right now? Like, it was just a really icky feeling because it was still pitch black outside, right? And one thing about this particular house that we lived in first is that it had giant windows and no curtains. Okay? Not only did it have no curtains, it had no bars, which we did not know at the time was a thing to look for.
Yeah.
So there was no curtains and there was no bars. So anybody outside, and we lived, like I said, out of town, so it was really dark. So if you know windows at all, if you're standing on the outside of our house and there's lights on inside, you could see in to the house very easily. But we could not see out because it was pitch black out there. There was no lights out there. Okay?
Jungle.
So it was a jungle out there. You know, again, though, why we kind of thought, well, there's nobody out here. It's the jungle.
They have to come through the jungle to get to the house.
They have to come through the
so,
jungle and, you know, over the barbed wire fence. You know, we're fine. It's fine. It was not fine, y'all. It was not fine.
No.
Okay? Also, the particular windows that were on our house, the police that did come out eventually said that they were like the easiest locks to just slide in and flick up and open. So, I mean, there was many contributing factors, right? Okay, so Rob, when I came in and I finally was able to tell you that we had been robbed, what were your thoughts and feelings?
Well, I think the immediate feeling of knowing that somebody wasn't dead was...
A relief?
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Like, phew, no one's dead. Because that's what I was thinking in my mind. And, but yeah, as soon as I seen the stuff, it was just... As soon as it was gone, I knew right away. I was like, yeah, we got cleaned big time.
The carpet cleaners?
Because they took everything, and I looked up where I had my second camera sitting that I just, used to just take random quick pictures with, so I don't really keep it in the bag, and it was on top of the fridge, and looked up there, it was gone. So right away it was that feeling of, okay, well, it's almost just like violated, because it's just like somebody's just came into your house.
Intruded upon.
Like I kind of figured, like, you hear stories of people getting robbed and stuff, but most of them were like, you leave your bag unattended at the beach, or you left something in your car in plain view, and like someone's gonna break in and take it, like, or someone sees you on the beach and they just watch you and they wait for you to leave your bag and they take it. I kind of thought maybe that's what would happen if anything did happen. Would be that I'd be silly and leave my bag laying on the beach or something, and somebody would take it, but not to like actually think that somebody was gonna enter my home with a machete and take all my stuff while we're sleeping, especially with the kids. But
Side note, okay, we found the machete in the morning outside of our window.
yeah, that's how we know it was a machete.
And I just have to say, for all of you who have not been to Costa Rica, it is like a garden tool here. Like, everybody has a machete, and it's not, like, they don't use it to harm people.
Yeah.
It's like they use it to prune their bushes, and they use it to clean their slatted windows, and they, like, it's used for, to open your coconuts. Like, it's used for everything. So when I first walked out there, when the sun came up, and I first walked out and saw outside on the ground a machete and a few other things. There's actually a picture we'll put somewhere here or here. I remember being like, Rob, this is outside our window. And again, it was like, it amplified like a little bit of a fear inside of me,
knife.
even though in like the back of my mind, like I remember the first 3 weeks when we were here and we were touring around town in our golf cart, and we'd see men just like walk out of the jungle with their machete, or they'd be walking down the side of the road with their machete, and we'd be like, man, you can't walk down the side of a road in Canada swinging a machete around. Like, somebody would call the cops on you. But it was very normal here. But in that moment, I remember just feeling extra icky about it, you know? Okay, so, of course, as the sun is coming up, we're also realizing our children are going to wake up soon, and we don't want to freak them out, right? I don't like lying to my children, but I also don't want to freak them out. So we both decided we're gonna put our game faces on. We're gonna do breakfast, and we knew that they would, like, they're old enough to know that all of the camera equipment's gone.
Yeah.
You know, it's gone. So we said to them, Daddy accidentally left his stuff outside, his backpack with all of his stuff outside last night.
Oops.
And somebody came and stole it from outside. So that we needed them to know something was going on, because we knew that we were going to have to be dealing with the police. And at this point we're still kind of doing everything together. We don't even know where to go to the police station or anything. So, you know, we wanted them to know something was going on, but we've got it under control. Like, let's try to keep it as normal as possible, right? And so that went pretty good. So the kids were taken care of. We wanted to make sure that they could still sleep at night, but unfortunately, these two people were not really able to sleep at night anymore. Specifically, this guy.
Yeah. Full on protection mode.
Protector of Wakanda.
Like,
engaged.
out of control. Okay?
Well, it's just
Not,
like.
okay, I shouldn't say out of control.
No. What?
What? No, I just mean, like,
I mean, how do you?
he couldn't sleep. Like,
Yeah.
he could not sleep. He was like, I'll just sleep on the couch. You know, I'll sleep on the couch, and I'll just stay up as late as I can, and then I'll sleep on the couch. And then I woke up the first night afterwards, I woke up at 4, as I always do, and he was still awake watching TV, and his eyes were like so wide, and I was like, okay, you need to go to bed. So that turned into like 3 nights, though.
I couldn't sleep because like I knew that somebody had been watching us. Because that night I had actually, like, I was working in the kitchen on my laptop, and I heard like noises in the jungle, like sound like I thought it was just an animal, you know, rustling
You would assume
around
it's a
in the bushes and whatever. But now, like, after that happened, I was like, that's probably a person. They're probably just sitting there watching me, waiting for me to go to sleep, and they're seeing me on my laptop. So I knew that they knew that I was on my laptop, so they knew that there was more stuff to get. They didn't get it all. So now I'm thinking, well, are they going to come back and finish the job? Like, are they going to bring more people? Like, I don't know. I'm in a strange country. I've never
What
been
does
here
finish
before.
the
you know?
job mean?
Well, come in and take the rest of our stuff. Maybe they got more money. Maybe they got more. They seen our laptop. They knew it.
I was definitely
You know?
more under the impression that, like, once this happened, once they got what they needed, they knew we would be on high alert and they would not be coming back.
Well,
Anything is possible, but that was more my genuine feeling.
Like,
I
if-
could understand why someone couldn't sleep at night, for sure.
Yeah. If they were willing to come into my house and take my stuff, though. I don't know. I just feel like they would do it again. So I was just like, I can't let anything else happen to my family. So,
Yes, so Rob was on full high alert,
like, commando.
which turned into him staying up every night until 4 a.m., me waking up, and then him sleeping all day and me tending to 3 kids on my own. And I'm still, like, we're still dealing with, like, trauma here, right? So, anyway, okay, let's back it up. So backing it up to the sun coming up that very next morning, the morning when we're in it, okay? Finally, my landlord wakes up. They read their text. It says, you know, I think we were robbed last night, and I sent a picture of the machete and everything. So they finally come over. It's like wee hours of the morning. And they were like, oh my goodness, you know, I'm so sorry, obviously. Gave us instruction. There's a police station downtown. So we went on about our morning, packed up the kids. We went out down to the police station. Of course, I don't speak good Spanish. Okay, again, I think I said it a few times in my last video. If you're coming to another country, do your best to learn a little bit of the language, because it will make your life exponentially easier. I promise you. It was very difficult. I was trying to Google Translate, but again, like, you know, you're tired, you are emotionally charged, and you're trying to deal with this. So Rob took the kids for ice cream just up the street, and I dealt with the police. Again, trying to keep them just cool and living the dream here. And we discovered through this that the local police station is not who you'd report crime to.
Not here anyway, at
Not
least.
here. Okay, not in this town. You need to go to a town that's 45 minutes away. They were like, you have to go to a town that's 45 minutes away.
We don't deal with that here.
I was like, well, I don't have a car. Like, we only have a golf cart, you know? And we don't know people in town yet. You know, today, I know lots of people. I would say, I need to drive to Nicoya. It's an emergency. I'd have, 20 people offer me a ride. But at that point, we knew nobody.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to pay a cab. With what? I have no money or no bank card.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? So luckily, our landlord did drive us, which was later in the day. So again, this day is just like taking the longest day of life. We drive all the way to Nicoya. We file our police report, which of course is like 2 solid hours of me speaking Spanish to a translator and them translating it to Spanish and back and forth and us meticulously listing out every single thing that was stolen from us, which in his camera bag was a lot of little things. We're talking multiple cameras, multiple lenses, SD cards, GoPro, drone, all of the backpack itself was like very expensive. It was specifically for photography. And
rent, all the cash we had from rent.
All the cash. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, we lost $10,000 that day.
Oh my God.
$10,000 was stolen from us. Just out the window, gone.
Within a few minutes.
Got it. When we totaled that up in that moment, because I'm texting him back and forth. Of course, I'm also in that exchange. I'm texting him because I don't know all of the camera like the information, and he's trying to tell me exactly what they are because we were told that the police may or may not really do a whole lot in this circumstance. So it was optional, really, to file a police report. Obviously a good idea because they want to track the crime, but many people told us, don't expect to get your things back. But Rob did very luckily take out insurance on his camera gear, on his electronics before we left Canada, like 2 days before we left Canada.
Yeah, I just was like, I should probably do that just in case something happens.
This.
So
that is a good idea.
If you're traveling to a different country, absolutely.
Please do that.
Get insurance on your stuff.
Because it worked. It worked.
It's not
we
just
didn't
here,
get it all
it's
back,
everywhere.
but it was definitely very helpful.
We got most of it back.
Yeah, I think we did. We were very thankful that we did that. So in order to do a proper insurance claim, though, you needed an official police report. So we knew we had to do that, and I had to get it done.
I'll put a link in the description of the company that I used from Canada for my photography gear, because they have really great packages. I think it cost me like $200
for the insurance
for the whole year. For the insurance of all my stuff, and that $200 was well worth it, obviously.
Truly.
And they were really great to work with.
They were really good to work with.
They called me, I called them, right away, and everything was fine, and I got paid within like a week or two. So, which was surprising. That was my first good experience with an insurance company. And they said that after that claim, all the rest of my stuff that if I buy new stuff, that's still covered for the whole year. Even if it happens again, it's still covered. So that was pretty good. For the $200, it's worth it.
Yeah, big time. Okay, so there were like a ton of emotions flying around in this like pocket of time, okay, for us. There was fear, obviously there was fear, and a little bit of anxiousness and unknown. I remember a few times thinking in my mind, oh my gosh, like, I think Rob's gonna make us go back to Canada, like, we're gonna have to cut our trip short, like, we're not gonna be able to stay here.
We're leaving.
And over those days, we did kind of, we touched on it, ebb and flowing, but we didn't, I could tell that wasn't actually the direction we really felt like we were going. We kind of, it really felt like we were just more like, okay, how do we handle this? Like, how do we move forward from this? How do we learn? How do we move forward, right? So we had fear, we had frustration, like a lot of frustration, because as good as dealing like with this insurance company was, it still was a lot. It was a lot of work. We've got the 3 kids running around all day. He's trying to like get these claims submitted, get them all of the details and information back and forth with emails.
I think it was more just frustrating, like, it wasn't the fact that my stuff was stolen, it's the fact that like I just don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Like the whole reason that we came here was to have this cool experience and like, take all these cool videos and photos and stuff, and then it was like, within 3 weeks that's all gone, and now it's like, now what do we do? It's like,
well, because you can't just buy that stuff here. There's no Best Buy.
Yeah, there's no
guys.
camera store right down the road.
Especially in our town. Like, you can go to the big city and get some of the stuff, maybe.
Yeah. Like, I did get my main camera replaced, but I had to drive 5 hours to San Jose to get it.
Each way.
Yeah.
To
get it. It was a whole day.
Day.
I was able to get one at least, but it wasn't.
But even still,
it's not the same. I don't have the lenses I have. I have one lens now. I have, I only have one camera.
Well, and you had to wait for the claim money to come in.
Yeah.
And then we had to find the places that carry this. It's not like in Canada. You can't just be like, have it at your door in 2 days.
Here's the thing, okay? So I found a place that could get the camera that I had, which is a Sony, but they don't have it. So they have to order it, they said. But they say you need to put half the money down on it so that we can order it. And I'm like, okay, well, how do I do that? I'm like, do you take credit card? And they're like, no, you have to go to the bank and deposit money into this account. So I'm like, okay, so you're telling me I have to go to the bank, deposit like $1,500 into some random guy's account, and just hope that he sends and orders this camera for me. I don't know this guy. I've never met him.
I'd like to insert one thing here, which also means that you need to go to the ATM and take out multiple transactions. You can only take out 300 American at a time. You get charged a fee every time you do that. You have to take out all this money. We don't even have bank cards right now. I mean, they came, but you know what I mean. And to get the $1,500 and only maximum $600 per day. So that means like it's taking like a week. Like, there's a lot. When people talk about it being difficult and a lot of people moving home, moving back to their original country because things are hard here.
Yeah, it's
these
a process.
are the things that they're talking about, because everything is just harder here. It takes more time. It takes more planning. It takes it's tedious. It really is.
Yeah. There's like 3 ATMs in our town, and like half the time you'll be lucky to get one that works, that has money, or
they run out of money,
or allows you to take money for some reason. Your card may not work that day. Who knows?
Yeah, and nobody knows. And you just got to try again tomorrow and say, Pura Vida.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine. I didn't need money today.
You just have to get used to.
Which sounds crazy, I know, to some of you, but I mean, in a lot of ways you do. We have gotten used to a lot of it. It still becomes a little bit frustrating sometimes, especially when you really need something in the now. But you also learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot about how at your fingertips things are, especially in North America where we come from, and how it's kind of nice to get a little bit of the lesson. Like, not this particular lesson, but we did learn a lot from that experience.
So I had to go to the bank, take out all the money, and I just trusted in this guy that he would order my camera with the money I deposited to him.
Which, like, trust at this point was a little
I was
flighty.
like, you know what, I don't have any other choice right now, so whatever. So I did that, and he did order it. He was a very trustworthy person, and I ended up renting a car to drive, because he was like, well, I can send it on the bus to you when it comes in. And I'm like, what do you mean?
What are you talking about?
You want me to send my $3,000-$4,000 camera on the bus from San Jose to here?
There's no Amazon.
And at that time I'm like, yeah, that's insane. Why would I do that? But apparently that's just what you do, right? And I've done it many times now with other things that I've purchased, and it works out great. But at that time I had no idea, and especially with something so expensive.
Yeah. In that moment, with something so expensive, we were not ready to take such a risk.
So I said, nope, I'm going to rent a car and I'm going to make a day out of it. And that's what I did.
So as I said, we had a ton of emotions flying around, right? We had the fear, the frustration. We had a little bit of shame flying around. And the shame was weird. Shame was like, I was like, why did we have the camera somewhere in the kitchen that was visible from the window? We should have known better, you know? And we're like internalizing this as if it was our fault, which, yeah, sure, you could say don't do that. But at the end of the day, I had to be like, remember, Jess, like you actually are a victim here. Yes, somebody did this to you, so you can accept that and we can move forward. But another part of the shame was that when we posted, we actually did post our situation on Facebook, on the local Facebook page here. And I remember somebody saying, like, are you just gonna like hide that this happened from your YouTube videos like all of the other people who only talk about the good here and don't talk about the bad?
The trolls?
And I remember being instantly like triggered and just really insulted because I was already so highly emotionally charged at that point. I was like, why is this guy digging at me? You know, I was like, absolutely, I'm going to talk about this. But as I said in my last video, I don't think that we were ready to present this video in the proper way, and any of these videos in the proper way. Because here's the thing, something like this happens. We were brand new to this country, okay? People come here, and even if it's not a situation quite like this, they experience something and they come and make a video before they even understand. Like, we were in this situation, we did not have time to diffuse, to digest, to understand where we were or what just happened, and that would have been the wrong time to make a video like this. Because now, hindsight, a year and a half later, we have so much more that we can give to help you make this transition properly. Alrighty, so after 3 sleepless nights in that house, okay, 3 nights of us really trying, we like did things to the windows, and I think on the very last night,
like the guy, like, because after we got robbed, and the landlord's like, oh yeah, just like lock the windows. And like, what do you think we've been doing? But like,
the windows,
the
the
windows
locks
were
were
locked.
no good. The locks were no good.
And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to like reinforce these windows somehow so that they can't actually open them if they do break the lock again. So I'm like outside looking for
Rebar.
sticks and rebar and anything I can find to put in the window track so that they can't actually push it open.
Right? Like that's, and I mean, that's a simple fix, but again, not one that I really, like that shouldn't have been super necessary, you know, because, you know, in this particular rental that we were in, they owned 3 homes and 2 of them had fully barred windows, and this particular house had 0 bars on the windows. But again, we didn't know any better to look, to compare, to think. So a lesson for you, my friend. I will talk to you, maybe I actually will talk about that right now. With bars on the window, I don't want you necessarily thinking that you have to have bars on your windows when you move here. Because that, of course, after that experience, we were like, we will never live in a house again that doesn't have bars on the window. But we live right now in a house that doesn't have bars on the windows. And there's a few key things that make the difference, okay? Our neighborhood is one of the biggest ones. We are not out on the outskirts of town. Like, it's very dark out there, like I said. There wasn't even really like a ton of like street lights or anything. Right now we're in the middle of a good little neighborhood. And there's a lot of street lights. There's a lot of houses facing all directions. So there kind of can always be somebody watching or looking. So it's more unlikely. It's not impossible, but it's highly unlikely.
We also have a fully gated
We have a fully properly gated property. If somebody wanted to jump that gate, sure they could, but they'd have to be holding all your stuff.
They're gonna make some noise doing it.
They're gonna make some noise. We also have 1 trillion dogs in our neighborhood that bark at everything that goes by. Yeah. And when we, I'm not gonna ruin the next episode, but at one point we did adopt our own dog here as well, who sleeps in our living room and would bark at anybody who comes anywhere near our house. So there are a few key things. So bars are not mandatory by any means, but you have to be aware of your surroundings, which is hard when you don't know where you're going and you don't know anybody where you're going. So that is a good note to make. So after 3 sleepless nights, like I said, back to this story.
Back on track.
We decided we cannot live here. We simply cannot live here anymore. There is a bad vibe on here. We don't feel good. I wake up icky. Nobody's sleeping. He's sleeping all day. We're at our wits' end. We gotta move. We know very little people in town, but I did know one lovely human being who helped us out. So after I had a very hard discussion with our landlords and I had to hold back my tears, This was still COVID times. This was December 2020, so we felt very bad for our landlords.
They knew though. They knew right away. Like they said that to us the same day. They're like, "You guys are gonna leave now, aren't you?"
And I didn't want to. I really didn't want to, but I had
wasn't.
never been in a situation like that before, so I had no idea.
No.
You know,
I
you
mean,
kind of know.
it wasn't their fault. It wasn't our fault, and it was nobody's fault.
No,
so,
but we just could no longer feel safe there.
No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't after 3 nights of
Couldn't do
staying
it.
up. I couldn't do it anymore.
You know, I still get up at that point I was still getting up with the baby in the middle of the night. And that just kept going through my head. Like, what if I had gotten up to make a bottle and walked into something that I didn't want to walk in on, you know? Like, I just didn't like the feel. So we decided that we would give our landlords a chunk of money to lighten the blow, because I really felt like everything had been, nothing. It had been COVID, and they likely were counting on this income. So we did this to make it not so...
Yeah, make it better at least.
Make it better.
So
we just felt
gave
bad.
them some time to find more people.
Exactly. Fill the slot. So after that conversation with the landlord, where I was like literally trying to hold back my tears because I felt so bad and like the emotions were just so high, we decided we would move, and we moved fast.